Hello. Let's do some yoga. So we're going to start in child's pose. So just bring yourself onto your mat, onto your knees. And let's bring our knees together if that is comfortable. And we're going to drop the chest down. Just bring the arms down by the side of the body and just allow the forehead or even coming up onto the hair and just relax in here. We're going to have some big deep breaths where you breathe in laterally into the back body. I'm just going to stay here just for about a minute. Allow yourself to really start to settle down. It's always really important for me to notice the change of my body on the mat, looking for a more present state. See if you can sink your body down just a little bit deeper. And using this pose as a resetting pose. Just allow anything that's worrying you or clogging your mind up just to be left outside of the room. We're just focusing on our yoga practice. So allow the shoulders to become super heavy. Maybe take an ujjayi breath, which is just a slight constriction around the throat. It's a little bit like a Darth Vader breath, where whenever you breathe in and out, it captures the breath. It makes it louder. Some people call it an ocean breath. And it's just really nice to anchor on so that if you do get distracted, you can come back to it. So it's really good to feel and hear this stronger breath. I'll just do 3 more breaths. And then just before we move, we're just going to set an intention for our practice today. It's going to be an I am something statement. It's in the positive. I am peaceful, I am strong, I am present, I am breath, I am here. You could even just go with I am. That's a very powerful root chakra statement. I am. Pick your intention and notice if you can feel any changes in your body as maybe you just repeat that silently to yourself a few times. Good. And we're going to stay in child's pose, but we're going to swoop the arms around and just push the fingers away, feeling that bit of a stretch around the base of the shoulder blades. And really pushing the palms of the hands into the mat, spreading your fingers. See if you can make contact with the whole of the palms of the hands on the mat. Good. A couple more breaths. So we're going to get ourselves straight into downward dog, quite a gentle one. So always using this as a measure. Hands stay where they are, lifting up the hips. See if you can curl your toes under and just push back. Let's keep the knees and nice and soft. See what that feels like. Maybe you need to reposition the feet. Might feel a little bit long. Trying to get a nice hip distance between the feet, shoulder distance between the hands. So there's nothing wrong with just looking up and checking. And think about straightening through the spine. So just notice what your shoulders are doing. If they feel rounded, see if you can just soften them up. And just pushing into the mat a little bit more with the hands, like you're pushing the mat away, and then soften into the legs. Holding here, 1 more breath. Good, and then we're going to drop the knees down. Allow the feet just to flatten, and we're finding our way slowly into a tabletop. So just checking in with your body, seeing if your back is as straight as possible. And just noticing how it feels here. So we're going to have a play around with the wrists first of all. So we're going to take the fingers so that they're on the edge, the long edge of the mat. So you're just kind of turning your arms and your wrists to see what that feels like. So this can feel a little bit more interesting to push and straighten the arms. And then just exploring, see if you can take the fingertips towards the back. Don't worry if they don't go all the way. Just see what your range of motion is, very slowly, just walking each of the hands round. And that can feel quite strange in the arms. It's not a position that we get into very often. Holding here, a couple more breaths. And just reminding ourselves that we try and gently move into these postures and looking for our edge. And that's where we can work. We can be doing our work of our practice. So if it went further, it would start to hurt and I might do some damage, some temporary damage, straining muscles. We don't want that. So very slowly coming back. So whenever we move into a pose, see if you can move really gently into it, exploring how far we can get into it. Good. Let's drop the belly, take the gaze up, and we're just going to pause here in cow pose. And just see if you can feel a nice big stretch running down the center of the body, dropping the shoulders down, give your head a little bit of a wiggle. So even though we're holding these poses for a good few breaths, don't feel that you have to be static. You can have a little bit of moving, see what that feels like. You're going to take a really big, deep breath in. And on the exhale, slowly coming into cat. Take your time. And then you can start to deepen it. So pushing your hands into the mat. Taking that chin a little bit deeper in towards the chest. Tucking that tailbone under. Maybe moving backwards and forwards. See what that feels like in the body. Excellent, well done. And then slowly back in a neutral spine. Good, well done. Now we're going to bring the left hand a little bit more into the center. And I'm shuffling my knees in for some reason. I'm going to take the right arm up. I've got this little bit of a twist. I'm saying a little bit. It's quite a challenge, this one, to extend that right arm up. So just keep that arm soft if it feels like it's a little bit too far. We're looking for a big opening through the front of the chest. We've got a spinal twist. Now I feel like I'm really pulling over onto the right side. So I'm going to see if I can push to that left. Yeah. Well done. And then deep breath in. And then exhale, we're going to windmill that arm behind us and then bring it down to the mat. Bring it into the center. And same thing on the other side. Nice and slow. Extending that left arm up. Checking where your balance is. Trying to get more into the center and moving your body as sees fit. Good. Well done. One more breath in. Really stretching and exhale. Take that arm back. Beautiful. And just resetting back in this tabletop, checking how you feel, checking how that stretch kind of feels in your body now. Can still feel a little bit around the chest. And getting ourselves into bird dog. So we try and keep the whole of the torso nice and square. I'm going to extend the left arm first. Maybe you need to bring that right hand a little bit more in. We're going to extend the right leg. Left arm, right leg. Flexing the foot if you can. If you need to keep the toes down, absolutely fine. But you can be pushing that heel away and extending that left arm out. If you have got that leg lifted, you can keep the head down so that you've got a nice flat sensation. I can look in the computer actually and see that I'm lifting that leg a little bit too high. Don't worry if you can't see yourself, but just imagine how your body looks. quite a challenging pose, particularly so early on. My goodness. Well done. And just slowly coming back and resetting first of all, checking how you feel. Left hand comes a little bit more into the center. This is so that we're stacking the joints. Right arm out, left leg out, flexing the foot, toes down if you want to. Just drop the gaze down so that you're not lifting up the head. And just checking that everything is as flat as possible. So maybe you feel like you're opening that left hip. See if you can drop it down a little bit. Good job. Well done. One more breath in. Really stretch out and then exhale. Woo, back into tabletop. Give yourself a little bit of moving from side to side. So pushing the hips to one side, taking the head to the opposite, and then going in for the other. Good. And I'm going to get yourself back into that downward facing dog. So let's bring the hands a little bit more forward, curling the toes under. Now this time we're going to soften the knees and just see if we can push back. So trying to get a little bit of contact between the top part of the body and the thighs. Don't worry if it's only a tiny bit. It's going to really stretch out through the chest and the arms. And see if you can come up onto the heels as well. No, onto the balls of the feet. Lift the heels up. Take a big deep breath in and then exhale into a more normal downward facing dog. Maybe you feel like you've got a little bit more space. I like to always play around with my head when I'm in this pose. So you give yourself a yes and a no, just to notice how your neck's doing. And then into a forward fold. So let's come up onto the tiptoes and keep the legs as straight as possible and just walk the feet forward so that they're going to hit the center, and then we'll find ourselves into a forward fold. So it doesn't matter if you need to keep bend in the knees. Let's see if you can dangle your arms, pull your chin under. You might feel a bit of pressure underneath the lower back. Drop your head down. Just say hello to your hamstrings. How are they doing? And then just come to stillness and just allow spaces to expand in between your vertebrae. And then into halfway, so we can push through the soles of the feet, hands come to the shins, and we've got that straight flat back as much as possible. Have a little bit of a play around. Good job. Well done. So I think it's quite difficult to get from here to mountain pose, standing pose. So what I'm going to do is just suggest that we take a big deep breath in, exhale and fold forward, and then really slowly wind our way up. Take a good few breaths here. And then just turn the palms of the hands forward. Check in that you feel straight. Give your shoulders a little bit of moving. Maybe you want to move your neck. See how your body is feeling. Tune into your body. And then we're taking a step to the front of the mat. We're going to go in for a high lunge. Right leg is going to stay at the front. So just dropping the toes of this left leg back. We're going to pick the heel up of that lifted foot. Nice long leg. And try and keep the knee of this right leg just over the ankle. Let's swoop the arms up. Nice to imagine that we've got a big ball in between our hands. Trying to get the arms around about where the ears are and lifting up. It's quite a strong pose. Excellent, well done. And we're going to take it into triangle. So while we're opening the hips to the left, we're going to drop that heel down, take the arms long. So you might need to just a little bit of changing around of that right foot. So it's gone a little bit more into the center for me. Thumbs up, and then we push the palm of the hand towards the top of the mat and then drop the right arm down. And then we go straighten into it. So we feel a nice stretch in this right side of the inner leg. Now in triangle, we've got to make sure that both sides feel like they're straight. So we're not curling over. We're lifting and lengthening through the torso. And we can really push the fingertips away from one another. So feeling a big stretch. Good. Now we're going to keep the arms in this position, but as we lift up, stay at shoulder height. Well done. And then we're going to drop the arms down, and then turn to the back of the mat. Triangle first. So arms are coming long. Turn the thumbs up. Push the fingertips away. And then we're going to go in for this big opening here. Make sure the back feels as straight as possible. And remembering the gaze can be down or up, depending. I find that gaze down can be a bit more grounding, particularly if you're feeling a little bit unstable or wobbly. If you take your gaze up, you can push the back of that left hand into the leg, and it can feel like you're working a little bit deeper. So we're going to transition now into that high lunge. Let's pick the arms up first of all. And this is where we drop the arms down. Now we need to get the hips pointing towards the back of the mat, and we need to lift that right heel up, coming onto the ball of the foot. Bend that front knee, and let's swoop the arms up. We've got a big ball in our hands again. How's that got there? Well done. Nice strong back leg. Picking up the heel, pushing into the balls. The ball of the foot. I'm obsessed with balls. Well done. And then I'm going to bring the arms down, and we're going to step to the back of the mat. Back to mountain. Feels a little bit strange. So let's do a quarter turn and then another quarter turn and take a big step to the front of the mat. Fantastic. Well done. So we've just done a high lunge and then a triangle. We're going to get ourselves into warrior two. So right leg is staying forward. We're going to step the left leg back. So we've got a bit of a diagonal coming into that left foot. And we're going to bend that front knee. Just check that the hips feel like they're opening. And you can have a go at just seeing what it feels like to imagine pressing into the big toe and the heel of this back foot. Let's take the arms long, nice and strong. Palms of the hands are facing down. And we try and take the gaze along the right arm, down that longest finger. So you're really strong through your gaze as well as this stance. Good, well done. And take it into reverse or peaceful. So we're dropping the left hand down, flipping that right arm and taking that right arm up. Some people like to bring that left arm behind us, pulling that left shoulder down. Maybe just think about where your gaze is. Is it up towards the ceiling, or you're looking towards the back, really deflecting that energy? Well done. Let's back into warrior two. And the last one, side angle. So we're keeping the knee bent. We're just bringing the bent forearm, just resting on the knee. We're not putting weight on it. Left arm comes up. And then some people like to just extend that right arm. So it's kind of a bit like a triangle in the arm position. Still got that knee bent, big strongness, big strongness through that back leg. Good. And we're going to push through that front leg, straighten the leg, drop the arms down. Well done. Keeping the legs wide. I'm going to turn towards the back. So warrior two on this side. So get your arms in position. Make sure that right foot is on an angle. Take a big deep breath in. And bend into that front knee because that's where the work is, particularly for me with me. I was going to go on about my quads then. I'm not got my quads are fine, everybody. I was going to say weak quads. I haven't got weak quads. Well done. Maybe you've got weak quads. I don't know. So into reverse. So dropping the palm of the right hand down and left arm flips. I've said that wrong. Oh my God. Right arm down, flipping the palm of the left hand up. And breathing here. And it's a big stretch and it's down the side. Oh my goodness. And a lot going on in the legs. There is a lot going on. Weak legs or not. There's a lot going on. Well done. Warrior two. Feel strong. Feel the space between the shoulders expand as you're pushing your fingertips away. Well done. Side angle. So dropping down, right arm up, nice big stretch. Then you can start to think about pushing that back foot into the mat. Maybe take your fingertips down. And I like to push my arm into my knee. Feels good there. Lengthening through the spine like we did in triangle. Good. Let's push up through that front leg. Yeah, straighten it out. Let's keep the arms long. Toes coming forward. And let's enjoy a forward fold. So we're going to go all the way down with the arms. Maybe you need to adjust your feet. Find your happy in this pose. So we're not using the muscles to do the work. We're using the connective tissues here. So that's why it feels different. Obviously, in the warrior poses, it's the quads. That's why I'm a little bit obsessed with quads. This one is about opening, stretching. Feel it in through the body. Good, well done. Let's take the fingers over towards the right. So you can either just have the hands around the feet. You might want to bring your hands around more of that ankle and just see what it feels. Just have a play around. There's not a right way to do this. So your back could be straight or you could be rounding down. You're just looking for a deeper sensation in the body. Good. Very slowly coming back. Taking yourself over to the side, noticing if there's any differences between the flexibility on this side. I quite like to hold on and take myself a little bit deeper into these. One more breath in and then back to the center. We're going to make this one quite active. So push your fingertips through that space. And then very slowly coming up. Well done. Take your time. So we have got to be careful when our head's been down for quite a long time. So if we get ourselves stood up too quickly, we're going to see them little birdies. And we don't want that. Hands on the hips and just heel toeing their feet together. And just make sure the feet are about hip distance apart. We're going to do quite an easy balance. Left leg is a standing leg. We're going to bend the right knee and then see if we can grab the knee. Maybe just drop the hands down so they're just onto the top of the shin, and I want you to pull that knee in. So we're standing up as tall as possible. So shoulders back. I quite like it sometimes when we've got something to hold on to like this. It seems a little bit easier. Good. And then release. So grounding down through the right foot. Let's lift the left leg up. So this is my, what's it, weaker side for balancing? I don't know what it is. So I've got to concentrate, but I'm pulling that knee in. So it's quite a bit of work for the arms. Straighten the back. Pull the shoulders a little bit further back. nice and tall. Good, well done. Let's release. Excellent. So we've got a nice compression there. It's always nice to release, give your legs a little bit of a shake. And then we've got a standing pigeon. So we're going to bend the left knee, bring the right foot across. So it's just finding a position, hands together. So this one's a really nice hip opener. And the more you bend that standing leg, the harder it is for your quads, I think, and your ankle actually. So nice and straight through the spine. So I'm tipping forward a little bit. Maybe you can see that. Let's hold 2 more breaths. And then stand it up and just releasing. Well done. So going on to the opposite side. Get yourself slowly into this pose. So if you can pull that knee back, you're going to feel a big deep stretch straight and through the spine, hands together. Breathe in here. Good work, well done. And let's push back up, back into mountain. If you need to shake your legs, all good. Take a couple of deep breaths and just notice if you can feel your heart or your heart rate just lifted. Balances are really good for helping us really concentrate. They have quite a big effect on how much work the body's got to do. Quite a challenge for the body physically. I can definitely feel it in the ankles and in the hips and the knees. Well done. Let's do a quarter turn so with the face in the front of the mat. Take a big deep breath in and fold forward and get into downward facing dog. Last time we're in this. So just making sure that your back is as straight as possible. So maybe you can notice some of the poses that we've done already in the body. Once you've done a pose and then you've done some other work and then you come back into that same pose, sometimes you can feel it. And then dropping on to the knees, flattening the feet. Well done. Now, I know that there's a lot of people who are not keen on headstands or really don't want to have a go, but I want to just see what it feels like to plug the crown of the head into the mat. So we're just going to go as if we're going into tripod headstand. Hands just come forward, and then just if you just maybe just before you put your head down, just look at the space, it's almost like you're making a triangle. That's why it's called a tripod, with the crown of the head. So you've got your hands at either side, and then you've got that upper point. It's going to be right in the flat of your head. Now see what this feels like. If this is as far as you want to work, fantastic. Stay here. If you want to have a little bit of a play around, curl the toes under, lift up the knees, you could stay here. Or you could bring the toes in. And if you wanted to have a play around, push into the arms and just find yourself practicing. Took me ages to learn how to do a headstand. So wherever you are, hold for 6 breaths. I don't do these often enough. And if you want to practice these, I recommend doing it up against a wall for a bit or a sofa, and then coming down and just relaxing just for a moment, back in child's pose. So again, we've got to be careful lifting our head up too quickly. Good. Very slowly, just coming up and just taking a seat. I'm just going to take the heels wide. So we've already worked the inner thighs quite a lot actually for our practice today, but we're just going to fold forward. So the legs are as relaxed as possible and just walk your hands forward and just coming into a nice relaxed state. And then if you want to, and you don't have to, you can maybe just take it a little bit deeper, maybe grabbing hold of the feet, maybe just bringing your hands around the feet and just going for a bigger, deeper stretch. Good. And then very slowly coming up. Well done. Just bringing the soles of the feet together. So we've got a couple of choices here. You can be pushing your elbows into your knees. So grabbing hold of your ankles and we sit up as tall as possible. Maybe a little bit of a knee flapping. Didn't think I was going to say that today. So that you just create a bit more space in the hips. Excellent, well done. And we're just going to finish in a seated position. So I just want to say a massive thank you for joining me again. Now, if you want a proper Shavasana where you're lying down at least 5 minutes, you can stop the video and get yourself in your Shavasana if you need your blanket, whatever. So I highly recommend that you do that. If you've not got the time, maybe you just sit just for a couple of breaths just before we finish. And I mean, if you've not got time for Shavasana, what are you playing at, really? But anyway, there's no judgment here. But yeah, thank you so much. And hopefully I'll see you again soon. Namaste. Good job, everybody. Well done.